Hi, it's Jane with SewScraptastic, and I just wanted to tell you that the sewing room is pretty much done. There are still a few things I need to tweak with it, but compared to what it was with all the boxes, bags, laundry baskets, there were 2 laundry baskets that were just full of stuff, and, it was crazy. It's hard to move around in there. So I have gotten things a little more cleaned up, but I will take you around and I will show you that in just a moment. What I'm doing today is I am drafting a pattern to cover a colostomy bag. And this is the type of colostomy bag my husband has. It has the deep recess. It is an oval, and the idea is the pouch covers will go around the bag this way with button holes here so that he can use the belt that he wears because he likes wearing the belt, and it'll cover up the bag because the front is clear, and when you're out in public you don't care for people to see you poop. So I'm drafting a pattern. I have gotten one ready and he's wearing it now. Did make the hole a little too big, but that's part of the process of drafting patterns, is getting what works, and I knew it was probably going to be a little too big, but hey, things happen. So my sewing room is ready for me to work in, and I will start cutting bags first, because I sew knitting and project bags, along with making some more pouch covers for my husband and making masks. I have a few people that need more masks. Their masks over time have worn out, and so I need to make them a few more masks. So that's what I'm doing. But here is the tour of the sewing room and what it looks like so far. Hi, it's Jane with SewScraptastic. I wanted to film just a real short video because I am showing you the process of working in that sewing room, cleaning it up, and getting it, to where I can work in it a little more safely, and so I have a clue as to what's in the sewing room. So a lot of this, I had a section where I had actually taken you over to the one side of the room that showed what a disaster it was before I even started, and I lost that video. So it starts with day 1, when I had started folding and started to work at managing and getting that reorganized. So here's the video, and you'll see the beginning, and then I will come back in and talk to you about where it starts. Now, as you can see, I have started folding things, putting them in these totes, and for a reason I'm putting them in the totes to begin with. But today I have quite a few baskets in this room. And yes, it's still a mess. It's all a process. I have some bags over here. That bag has knits, and there is a basket underneath. All of that mess that contains knit fabrics. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this stuff right here into another room, the bedroom next door, and I am going to start working my way this way. In that Stairlight Mainstays 3-drawer cart, you can see that there is fabric in that second drawer. The first drawer is down here underneath some of this stuff. But in that drawer, I had used comic book boards, like the one that's right there, to put fabric in there, and it is not working. As you can see, there's a lot of space that is missing. that I could actually use to make it a little more organized and easier to get those drawers open. So what I'm going to do is I am going to start refolding those pretty much like the KonMari method, where I'm going to fold them into littler spaces where it will fit better, and I can just pull a drawer open and thumb through the fabrics and go from there. That is my goal today. So I told you I would take you along on this process. So this is some real honesty, getting into these fabrics and getting them sorted and taken care of. I'm also going to, I have a tote in the other room that I am going to be putting projects, because I do have projects under there that are ready to go. It's just, they're buried. All right, guys, talk to you in a little bit. Bye. And here we are on day 2. I know a lot of people say that it doesn't look like I did much progress, but I believe I have. I have 2 of those containers sorted and put into their places. And the shelves there are a little more organized. I do need to go into that top shelf to determine what I'm going to keep and what I'm going to get rid of, because a lot of that is rug hooking items, with the exception of the elastic, and that needs to be put with my other elastic. So yeah, I'm seeing progress. I figure it's probably going to take me a good week to get it to where I'm actually able to get in and do some things that I wanted to do to begin with. But it's a process, right? And here you are along with me on this process. First off, we're going to start by looking over here where that part of the room was that was such a disaster, and I'm going to take you around. Hopefully I won't make you too dizzy. But in that very corner, and I know it's dark, I just don't have the lights set up for this room. In that corner, I have a bookshelf, and before I was using the comic book boards, wrapping it, and of course you can see that the shelves are just 2 sizes, don't have extra shelves. So they wound up with a lot of unused space. I determined that I like this a little bit better for me right now. And then I have this small bookshelf right there, and on top of it some more. These 4 totes that are right there are actually projects that are ready to be finished, like squares, you know, quilting squares, those kind of things. And I basically did the same thing in my drawers, where I took out the comic book, and I changed that to just folding them into a smaller size so it was more manageable for me, and actually wound up being able to cover more fabric that way. That corner there, I still have some issues with it. In the very corner where that one tote with the green lid is, it is sitting on top of batting. That is an open corner that has just batting sitting in it. And then I have one of these little baker's racks that holds the bigger rulers that I use. And I have not got the curtain up that I was going to put in front of that shelf, because the dark blue curtain there normally takes care of all that, so I don't have light issues fading when we get the air conditioner in, which the air conditioner goes in right where that window is that the Love sits on top of it. And when that air conditioner gets in, the Love has to go somewhere else. And I have a collection of those silly little sun things. This is basically my ironing station. It is a kitchen island that I basically just put a pad on. I do have several ironing boards. I have a small ironing board there and a large ironing board right there. This holds mostly bits and scraps that I use for my applique when I'm doing embroidery and applique. The very top tote right there with the green handle, that is leftover quilt binding. I tend to make my quilt binding all the same size so that when I make a scrappy quilt I can just join all those strips together and it's got a nice scrappy binding that goes all the way around it. I do have some vinyl back there, black vinyl, and here between the two totes is a small, it is actually one of those magazine holders, and it has some Decaville light in there. It also has a roll-up of paper for drafting patterns. When I'm over here at my ironing station, many times I'm trimming, so I have a trash bag that is just hooked to a little clamp that hangs off the handle, and that's what I use a lot of times. Now when I am making masks, I will use my little square cutting iron board right there in an iron to make mask. I always wipe all the areas down with the Clorox disinfecting wipes before I start making those. And there went the mic. Hold on. So that is an area that I use for a lot of things. Here, I just got some of those little containers. There are 4 of them from Dollar Tree, and that's what, when I cut my bags, they are projects that are ready to go. This is a sweatshirt that I had taken apart and had done some embroidery on, and I just never finished it, so I need to finish it. These are some Christmas projects where you take the towel and the pot holder, and yes, I buy them all up after Christmas because you can usually get them for about a quarter to, well, 50 cents to a quarter. And then I have another project back there that I was commissioned to do. I have a small container here that I hold a lot of the things, tools that I use while I'm cutting sewing. But normally what's in these are bags of different sizes that I've cut and ready to go. My cutting area, this is an old table, and this old table does sway in the middle. I am getting another table this week, you know, one of those fold in half, because I only have 4 feet from here to here to use. So I'm going to get one of those folding in half ones, you know, that you get at Walmart for $40, and put that up here for my cutting area. And I have a lot of clips and different things that I've used for different things. Down here underneath are all my different embroidery threads. The bag there, purple bag, when I was going over to Hoover's for embroidery classes, that's what I took, was that bag full of stuff. There, those 2 totes. The one on the very bottom is cording that I use for drawstring bags, and then the top 2 are actually zippers, different kind of zippers. Now over here I have my little TV that I watch while I'm, well, listen to. Gotta have company, right? And this is an area that I'm looking at. I would like to get rid of this. This is one of those student desks that has little things on the end. Husband used it when he was getting his PhD at Virginia Tech, and I would like to get rid of it, but we haven't done that part yet. Down here under the desk, I have all of my different, well, not all of them, a lot of my different stabilizers that I use in bag making and things like that. And, you know, tote's been filled. And I have my distilled water for my iron. And that bag of rocks, what I do with some of my leftover pieces, I will make sewing weights with those. Those rocks are too big to use for inspiration for breast prosthesis, so that's what I'll use that for. And I have this little 4-drawer container, cubicle container here, and it has a lot of things in it that I've used for shabby chic items that I've made, bags. And these are some extra totes that the husband and I have stacked for different things, you know, like ribbons, lace, Velcro, bias tape, fabric scraps, those kind of things. Have some more zippers up on the top. And then I used to, in shoe boxes, would cut 2-inch squares, 6.5-inch squares. I've since changed a lot of what I do. Now I do more of a 2.5-inch strips, 6.5-inch strips if I can get it, and then they go into the different shoe boxes for different projects. And there are 3 of those containers there that hold fabric and scrapbooking things like that. I do have a file drawer that holds a lot of patterns and things that I have, and of course the Kleenex and the extra fun stuff. Those things on the very top are for me to make stitch markers and jewelry, so mostly stitch markers. Now these sets of shoe boxes primarily hold a lot of those different things, you know, that you might use. It also has some of the strips, like the 2.5-inch, 4.5-inch squares. Holds my thread, holds serger thread. And then these 2 totes here have a ton of stuff that I use in the sewing area. And I have a lot of patterns that I have made or downloaded that I like to use. And so I used the 2 crates that I had, and just sticking them with those book bins that you get from the Dollar Tree. And I have a big basket full of scraps and things that I'm planning on making bags out of. That has all my mask patterns, different mask patterns. This is just holding some threads. This big laundry basket, those are items that are ready to be made, and on top of it I just have some of the extra batting and things in it. On the door, this is supposed to be a shoe rack. It holds stabilizers and things like that. And as you can tell, we have a bunch of stuff in here. This one, those little half rooms, exercise equipment back behind the door that neither one of us use. My hot light. And this right here is an area that I have not touched. So I have no idea what's there. And I will be looking into that. That little thing with the glowing light on it is actually my hurricane I use in the kitchen. This I need to clean up. This bin back here has all kinds of elastic, fold-over elastic that I've been using for face mask. I do have in this bookshelf different projects that are ready to go. I just need to pull them out and work on them. And then these 2 small items hold all the things like thumb drives, glues, remotes for everything. Then I have in this drawer, this very top drawer, oops, where I have my needles sectioned out. so I can reach in and give my needles, change needle. This has all kinds of tools sitting right there, which needs to be cleaned up. And then, of course, right under my machine there is a toolbox that has all the different feet that I have acquired for this machine so far. Now, this desk is a horn desk, and it is a basic desk for a small sewing machine. I won it years ago from Hoover's, and I've just never upgraded. It does not fit my big 880 that's sitting on top there, but it's still usable, and has that little space there that I have a ton of books regarding Bernina machines. Have a trash can there, and right there I used to have a hook right here where I hung my rulers, and the hook fell off, so now that is just one of those book bins. And I have some sewing weights down on the bottom so it doesn't tip over with my extra rulers. So I have rulers that I just, toss in there to be used. And that is my serger. It only comes out to play when I need to do the serger. And that is it for this portion. I will take you and show you the hallway now. This is an extra bookshelf that I have placed fabric on the first 3 shelves. We have a lot of stuff down below that needs to be gone through, and so we're kind of going through those things as we go. Here I have a couple on another bookshelf stacked that just have scrap pieces in it and blocks that need to be finished. This tote has a bunch of different glues that I use. Whoops. Sorry about the movement. Different glues that I use for scrapbooking, things like that. And then I have some of my sewing books, crochet books, and a couple of language books there that we've been playing with. And that is that for this portion. So I hope you enjoyed the sewing room. Yeah, it still has some issues, but it's a small room and I'm enjoying working in it. It's a lot cleaner now, so that is the big plus for it. And I will tell you, while I was looking and sorting the fabrics and all that kind of stuff that was under there, I found this fabric. And I'm going to show you this fabric. I'd gotten it at Furnace near Mifflinburg. Real pretty paisleys. See? In some reds. Real pretty flowers. Gorgeous print. And then another print. I bought those in 2017. I had no idea that they were sitting there. I bought those to make a red and white afghan, and promptly forgot about that. Lost it, and it was lost to the winds. So cleaning up was a good thing. Alright guys, I'll see you again soon. Everybody have a great day, and remember, choose kindness.